Hey, welcome back to Compounding Quietly. 5,000 shares. Most investors never stop to calculate what that number actually produces in income terms. But once you run the math, something fundamental shifts in how you see the position. Let's get into it. There is a quiet moment that happens in long-term investing that almost nobody talks about. You don't experience it as a celebration. There's no notification, no alert. You're just buying the same way you always have. Same day of the month, same amount. And sometimes the market cooperates, and sometimes it doesn't, but you keep adding either way. Then, one day, you pull up your account and realize the position got large. Not large in the way financial media talks about, not a highlight or a trending number. Just a number that, when you actually do the math, starts to produce something real. With SCHD specifically, 5,000 shares is the threshold, where the income side of this position becomes impossible to ignore. And yet most investors who reach that level are still measuring themselves the wrong way. They're watching the share price. They're comparing the fund's total return to a broad index. They're running percentage calculations and asking whether they made the right call 2 years ago. What they're not doing is sitting down and asking the question that this position is actually designed to answer. How much is this paying me right now? Not as a yield percentage on paper, not as an abstraction in a spreadsheet, in actual dollars per month, deposited directly into my account. And what will that number look like 5 years from now? Without a single new share, without a single new decision. That shift from tracking price to tracking income is where the real clarity lives. It doesn't happen when you buy your first share. It happens after years of consistent accumulation. And 5,000 shares is exactly the place where that shift stops being theoretical and starts feeling real. Let's get specific about what 5,000 shares of SCHD actually produces. At the time of this recording, SCHD's trailing annual dividend sits at approximately 87 cents per share. That figure reflects the fund's payout structure, following the 3-for-1 stock split in late 2024. At that rate, 5,000 shares generates around $4,350 in annual dividend income. Break that number down and you're looking at approximately $360 every month. $360 deposited into your account every single month. Not because you predicted anything correctly, not because you timed an entry or managed a position actively, because you held. That is what patience looks like when it converts into income. Now, here is where the judgment frame becomes important. SCHD is not designed to maximize current yield. If you compare it to funds built specifically for high payout, SCHD's yield looks modest. Some investors see that comparison and begin to question whether the years of accumulation were worth it. But that comparison entirely misses the design, intent of the position you've built. SCHD tracks companies with a demonstrated track record of growing their dividends over time. The structure is not optimized for what you receive this year. It is optimized for what the income stream looks like in 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. Over the past decade, SCHD delivered dividend growth at a compound annual rate of roughly 11 to 12%. That number is historical. It is not a guarantee about the future, but it reflects the selection discipline inside the fund. Companies with the financial quality to sustain and grow their payouts through different market environments. Here is what that growth trajectory means in practical terms. Even if future dividend growth comes in at a more conservative pace, call it 7 to 8% annually, the income that 5,000 shares produces today does not stay flat. At 7% annual dividend growth, that same 5,000 shares could be generating close to $500 a month in 5 years. In 10 years, that monthly income could approach $700 without buying a single additional share, without deploying any new capital, purely from the compounding of the dividend payout itself. This is the mechanic that most investors struggle to hold on to, because it is invisible while it is happening. You don't see the income growing quarter to quarter in any dramatic way. It moves in small increments, and those increments compound. Coming back to the question this video is really asking, what does 5,000 shares actually mean? It means the position has crossed into a different kind of territory. The income it generates today is real and tangible. The structure it sits inside is designed to grow that income over time, not because the market cooperates, but because the underlying companies continue to grow their payouts. Let's also look briefly at total return. If you reinvest every quarterly dividend back into the fund, the share count itself compounds. Each reinvested dividend buys more shares. Those additional shares generate their own dividends the following quarter, and the cycle continues without any active decision on your part. 5,000 shares reinvesting dividends at a growing payout rate doesn't stay at 5,000 shares for long. The compounding doesn't announce itself. It just works quietly in the background, year by year, quarter by quarter. Here is the judgment frame I want to leave you with. A lot of investors who build a position to this size eventually start second-guessing it. Not because the position failed to do what it was designed to do, but because something else looks like it's doing more. A newer fund, a higher current yield, a stronger recent price performance on a different ticker. In that moment of comparison, there is one thing worth remembering. The income stream that years of consistent buying has created does not transfer to a new position. When you sell, you start over. The dividend history resets. The compounding that was already quietly in motion stops. The 5,000 share milestone matters not as a number to celebrate, but as a reminder. This strategy was never designed to win every short-term comparison. It was designed to build an income stream that grows over a long period of time, and that becomes more valuable the longer you hold it. Right now, that stream is producing $360 a month, and it is structurally positioned to grow, whether or not the market validates it in the near term. Hold that frame clearly, not because patience always feels productive in the moment, but because the income side of this position does not require your constant involvement to keep working. The dividends compound, the income increases, and the position you built through years of quiet, consistent action keeps doing exactly what it was designed to do. That is what 5,000 shares actually means. Compounding quietly investing that gives you peace of mind. If this video helped, subscribe and leave a like. I hope this becomes a small source of strength in your investment journey. The content in this video is for general informational purposes only. All final decisions and responsibilities remain with the investor. Thank you for spending time with Compounding Quietly today.